Good morning and welcome to the Crafty Canary for your tip on Tuesday. Today I want to show you how to get a pull out of a piece of fabric, a sweater, a shirt like this. With this kind of thin fabric, it often can have a pull on the outside that you want to get back through to the inside so that you can't see it, and make sure that you don't put a hole in your shirt or sweater. So what I have is a piece of fabric. This is some fabric that's actually I've used to make the draperies in my bedroom, and it has a pull. If you can see that on the outside. So what I'm going to do is find a needle. I'm going to find the skinniest needle that I have with the biggest eye. I don't know if you can tell or not if I get a dark background. Nope, that doesn't help. But it has a pretty big eye on this needle. But it's not an embroidery needle. Those have great big eyes, but they're also a little bit thicker. You want to get a thin needle so you don't poke a hole in your fabric or shirt or sweater. But what I'm going to do is go from the inside with the eye end of that needle and get as close as I can to that pull, very gently, so that I don't make a hole or pull anything else. And then I'm going to get that little pull and put it through the eye of the needle. And this is the difficult part and why you want to have the biggest eye that you can find on your needle. And this may take a little bit because, like I say, this is the hardest part, getting it in there. And if you're like me and beyond 40, it's difficult to see. So that's the problem. And I finally got it. Can you see there? It's in the eye. So then very carefully, I'm going to get the needle from underneath and I'm going to carefully pull it back through to the other side. Kind of do a little pulling and smoothing because it does have a little bit of a bump on it now. And that sometimes just can't be avoided. Depends on your fabric and the type of fabric that you have, but as you can see, it looks much better than it did with the pull sticking out. It's much smoother. Now, if I'm going to a party, I had a pull in my sweater and I just needed to get it out, I can go like that. It might come back through again later, but for temporary, it's okay. If I want a permanent fix, what I can do is take a product called Fray Check or some fabric glue and use that to glue it down. Now first, before I use this, I want to make sure that I've tested it on my fabric. So if it's a sweater or a shirt that you own, you want to find a spot on the hem, maybe on the inside that nobody's going to see, that you can test it to make sure it's not going to discolor your fabric, to make sure it's not going to come through to the outside and leave a spot. Just make sure that it's going to be okay. And you want to use this to smooth down and glue it down to the inside. And like I say, this is washable fabric glue, so it shouldn't wash out and should help that pull to stay in. Now here's another quick little tip. If you've got the Fray Check or the fabric glue, you haven't used it in a while, that nozzle can sometimes get gunked up and the glue or the Fray Check will make it difficult for some more to come out. So you want to take a pin, one that you don't plan on using again, and stick it through that dried glue or dried Fray Check. Work it out in there so you have an opening again, and then you can throw that pin away and not use it. So I'm going to go back to my loop that's on the inside now, and I'm just going to do a tiny little dab and smooth it down with the tip of, I don't know if you can see, the tip of the bottle. Get it glued down, let that dry, put it somewhere where it's not going to get bumped. Of course, you don't want to be wearing it in the next, I would say, 24 hours or so. Make sure you have plenty of time for this to dry. And then it's going to be secured to the inside and not come through. And again, it's not perfect, but it's much better than it was, and it doesn't have that loop coming through, which could get pulled and then maybe even make a run in your fabric, which you definitely don't want. So I hope that tip helps. I hope you have a great day and a great week. Please subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a whole lot. I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.